Okay, so in our last class we talked about a couple of things, and I believe we got to understand a few things about it, about React, why people choose React, why is it popular. So we talked about component-based architecture, we talked about the virtual DOM, we talked about having reusable components, unlike HTML where you have like a lump of code. Okay. Yeah. So where you have a lump of code, very, very lengthy, and then uh you cannot split, you don't even, if you have an issue somewhere, you have to like find it and all of that. Then we also talked about JSX, which is JavaScript XML, which allows you to write JavaScript within your HTML code. So we also talked about the ecosystem. React has like a large ecosystem. So in case you have issues somewhere, you're able to find out that, oh, someone has done something like this. So I can learn from the person, that kind of instance. So in terms of components, yeah, I would say that components are like small chunks of code that could have like its own let's say its own JavaScript controlling it inside it. So it's just code that you can reuse elsewhere. It's not like you have to keep duplicating code. So there are some principles, and one of them I talked about was DROI. DROI means don't repeat yourself. So React kind of helps you so that you do not repeat yourself. When you create a component, you don't have to repeat the same logic. So once you change the logic in one place, repeating it, what I mean is when you make a change in one place, it goes across wherever you want to use it. So, but then when you're using these components, what you can do is you're passing props inside it. You're passing props inside it. So those are like those are a few things that we learned about. So we then went on to yeah like to go over JavaScript, because like there's a whole lot of there's a React is built on JavaScript. So it's a library that is built on JavaScript. So you write it like you're writing, your JavaScript. So we went over variables, how do you manipulate variables. We also touched uh, different data types. So today we'll still continue with fundamentals of JavaScript, but we will just focus on functions and probably loops. Yeah, how do you use those things? I know I gave us some activities to do in the last class. So I think I want to explain something. There is something I am actually seeing, and I said I was going to talk about it. So yeah, so there is something I want to talk about here. So what is that? I think based on, I don't know if most of us, I think it's a concern for me. And I know I've graded most of your tasks and all of that, but I just want to talk about it before I continue. Now, for those of us that have been with me, maybe in 1.0 or 2.0, yeah, we talked about how your folder structure basically. So I think it's something I need to just address before I go on to um, into what we have today. Now, when you're using vanilla, I feel like, yeah, even if you dump your code, your HTML and CSS anyhow, it will still work. But there's built-in organization. Now, for most of us, what we did was you have index.html is outside. You have maybe index.js. Well, very weird name actually. Index.js is outside too. Like, what stops you from having a folder that you just say, this is for CSS? What stops you from having a folder that you just say, this is for JavaScript? And then your HTML files can just be outside. And if you're dealing with images, what stops you from having a folder images? Does this not look beautiful enough or something? And then you have like index.html. So whatever you're doing, your HTML files are outside, except you're dealing with large projects. So if you're dealing with large projects where you have like maybe student section and then teacher section, maybe you have to now differentiate between the different file maybe concerns for teachers or concerns for students. You now have to like separate them in that regard. But then for me, I feel like your folder structure, if you do it like this, heaven will not fall down or something. But maybe most of us is because we do not know. So I'm just saying that you guys can just do it like this. Then also you're naming this thing. I don't know. Yeah, your naming convention. I've never seen index.js. Well, learning before. I know it doesn't matter anything. You could use script.js, you could use app.js, main.js. Well, those are conventions that they use in like most tutorials or something, but I'm actually self-taught. So I think most of this, I kind of pick up some of these things from what I see, what I watch in tutorials. So I kind of feel like this will help us on the long run. So that's just what I want to talk about. So your JS files go inside the JS folder, your CSS files stay in the CSS folder. And then
So please,
another
I
thing
share
is, okay, am I not sharing? Sorry. Ah, please pardon me, Jesus. I wasn't sharing, I was just talking. Oh, okay, so I'm actually sharing. Sorry about that. So, and I wasn't even paying attention to the chat. Okay, so I have I have my CSS folder. I created this folder. So let's say this is like your main, and that's another thing. I just hope that most of us know all these things. So you have this folder here. You now have a folder for your CSS. All your CSS files just enter inside there. You have a folder for your images. The images go inside. You have a folder for your JavaScript. Everything concerning JavaScript is inside here. Your index.html can stay outside. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the point I was trying to make. For most of us, everything was outside. Everything, everything was outside. And it was not looking nice at all. It was not looking nice at all. I know that to an extent because if I'm grading. Folder structure is also something I grade. So if I see files scattered everywhere, man, this one a real way outside. Okay. So if I see your files and stuff scattered everywhere, for me I'll just deduct marks. So that's just what I wanted to talk about. So just learn to organize your folders better. You're a developer, for crying out loud. So that's what I wanted to talk about. So back to what we have today. All right. There's a document I was supposed to. Okay. Okay. Um, there's a document I'm supposed to have. So we are supposed to talk about loops, conditionals, functions, So we are going to talk about them, but I'm going to use functions. So in the last class, I gave us something to do. I don't know if anybody has. Okay, let me just get that document. I'll stop sharing for a bit so that I just get that document. So, okay, yeah, JavaScript playground. I don't even know how I came up with that name. Okay, so let me share again. All right, all right. Okay, so couple of yeah, so these were like some of what I gave us to do. So write a JavaScript function that accepts a string as a parameter and then converts the first letter of each word into uppercase. So we're going to tackle this before we go into, well, React proper. So I'm going to go to my app.js. Okay. So now let's see. How do we go about this? Let me give this side by side. I believe you guys can still see my screen, right? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So first, let me just copy this. I think I am just let me copy this to inside here. So we just have to deal with this, and I remove this document. Okay, and then this one. All right, so let's just focus on VS Code. We are going to attempt this function, and then we'll use it to learn a few things. So the first one, so we want to write a function that will take a string as a parameter and then convert the first letter of each word into uppercase. So how do we go about that? So depending if you want to use ES5, you have to use your function keyword and you just do it to uppercase. Hope that works. Yes. Okay. So that's just my own name. That's it. Let me just do word. So that name is actually it's not sufficient enough. It's not doing if it's our modern people, they'll say it's not giving. So it's not conveying what this is supposed to be actually. So this is supposed to take a parameter. So parameter, let's say a string. Now for this string now, the set. So this string, let me say when you have something like this, let me just call this at once. Okay. So let me just say, oops. Oh, it should actually be, let me just put in a small letter. Okay, so I have this, which, okay, so if I do, I'm just going to console log this, LG. Okay, so what happens? I'm going to still use Node to run this. So remember the last time we said you need to have Node installed for you to be able to do this. So app Okay, so I have Austin loves Java, loves, didn't go to school. Okay, Austin loves JavaScript. Now this actually shows up. So I am now to perform like, well, other things that will help us to achieve what this function is meant to do. Now, what is a function? Sir? Can someone just explain to me what a function is in the chat? Or you could raise up your hand if you want to speak up. In your own word, what's a function for you? Okay, let me just go. I'll call names. Danny, what's a function for you? What do you understand by a function?
Okay, well, in my own words, I think a function is just a block of code that, that it's executable, something like that, to perform
Okay.
a specific, a specific action at a particular time.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Malux, how about you? What's a function for you?
Okay, for me, if I say a function as, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I say a function as, I see it as workers in your code that you assign specific jobs to carry out. So you
Okay.
could have different functions doing different things in a particular app or program code.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so both answers are right. It's a block of code that performs a function. It's a worker, you have to assign it something to do, and then it does it for you. So based on that, we're trying to solve this problem now. You pass a string to it, and then you convert the first letter of each word into upper. Now, first thing that we need to do here is, now is this a string. We are passing in a string inside here. Now, there is a built-in function. So when you get that string, what you're supposed to like break it down so that it knows that there are different words that make up this string. So you need to tell it that, okay, what is entering, what is getting inside here? Yeah, this is a string, but I need you to break it down such that we can pick each word and then do something with this word. We want each word to start with an uppercase. So, and now I'm going to put a whole lot of console log so that you see the flow, how this is actually happening. So I'm just going to create, I'll just say let's, so if I get a string and I break it down, I'm going to use split. I'm going to split it because I want to get each word. So using split, depending on how you use it, split can break your a string into, well, different chunks. So I'm just going to create an array and I will say str, which is my parameter, and then I will split it. Now, if I split it this way, see what, so there is something with splitting that we need to understand. So if I split it this way, what do you think is actually going to happen to this, my string? Okay, you can answer in the chat. What do you think will happen to it? I'm going to clear this and run again, CL clear. Yeah, it will return all the characters. Okay, so let's just run that. I have a bad habit of forgetting that I need to save my code. Okay, so this is what happened. First, so I get all the characters. Well, is that what I want? That's not what I want. Yeah, so it splits. This one splits by character, but I want to split each word, so I have to give an extra space here. So if I do that, I'm going to run this code again so that we see. So you see, I have Austin loves JavaScript. Austin loves JavaScript. So it finds out where do we have spaces. So you want to split at the point where there are spaces in between them. So that's what you're saying. So split them into words that have spaces in between them. So when we've gotten that now, we can use a for loop. I'm just going to use a for loop because I want to touch conditionals, I want to touch loops, and we can play around with that. So what happens, what goes on with a for loop? So a for loop takes, you have to initiate it. I need to secret calls. So let's I equals 0. Okay. And then I is less than array, because we want to go through the array. And then we now also want to increment it, because if you don't do it, it's not going to do it. It's not going. We want to increment it on each count. Let me save this. So you want this I, when it starts from 0, so it picks the first item, does whatever it wants to do, picks this, when it finishes, it goes back, picks the second item, and so on and so forth. So that's what this increment does, increment by 1, so goes one after the other. So when I do this now, I actually want to, okay, so what I want to do now is I want to get the array. So the array, so that specific array, so I know there's something I actually skipped here. I'm supposed to do let's new array, because I want to push it back. So I want to get back. So I've gotten the first array. I want to put it back inside. I want to put it inside another array. So this array, so each word is actually going to pass through this. So, but then I need the character. So character at 0. Let me just do this. CLG. All right, slow and steady. So, okay. Okay, so I actually have A, L, and J. So I'm getting the first, so each word, when each word comes in here, I'm trying to get the first character. This first character now, I need to do dot to uppercase. Okay. So I'm just breaking it down. you can use a different approach. Okay. So I've actually changed the first character, but then this is not what I want to do. Is, yeah, I've been able to change each alphabet, but what I want to do is I want the word. I want the complete word. Yeah, so I am just going to do I'm just going to do to add sorry, okay. Okay, so I'm just going to get the remaining part of the word. So I've gotten this one. I've gotten like the first character to change, but then I also need to get the remaining part of the word to, I need to join it too. So, the array, and then what am I looking for? Uh, I'm going to remove the first element. So I'm going to slice first element. I believe we still remember slice. So this is supposed to just concatenate, like you remove the first word and then you bring back, you remove the first character rather, the first character here, then you join this new character, which is these ones, and then uh, we're supposed to get like the full word here. So let me just save and rerun this. Okay. Okay, so you see what we are getting here. So Austin loves JavaScript. It's already in capital letter. But then I need to push this now. So I will just say new array. Dot push. And I'm just going to get these guys. So if I push this, and then I will just console log. I've just done CLG. So if I console log new array here, sorry that I know some of us approves. I'm just breaking it one step at a time. Okay, so let me comment this out. So let me do this again. So clear, then I run. So I have, yeah. So I have, okay. I have Austin loves JavaScript. Austin loves JavaScript. So now what I want to do, what I eventually want to do, there are functions that you are expecting something. So you have to like return what you're expecting. So we are expecting the sentence back, but we are expecting it with spaces, as we passed it in. So instead of just returning, we need to return new array. But we also need, remember that we split initially, but we need to join it. New array. I need to also give that extra space so that it returns the entire system. So let me just clear again. And then I will just run it. Okay. Okay. So let me just put this back. Let me put this in the console.log, because when you're returning, or alternatively, instead of having this here, So since we are returning, I'll just console log this. All right. So let's see what this gives us. Oh, yeah. So you have it. Austin loves JavaScript. First characters, yeah, they are in uppercase, and then we have our sentence back with all of that. I don't know if anybody confused. Do we understand what do you understand what I just did? Do you understand it? Can you guys hear me? Just signify by raising your okay. Sorry, can you guys hear me? I think I went off for a bit. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. 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 So I want to know if we are clear on this first function. I have like two more so that we can move on to other things. Okay, so the second one here is to write a JavaScript function that accepts a string and finds the longest word within it. Okay, so I'll just do that quickly. So I needed us to just brush through a couple of things here, so that's why. So I'll just do function, and I'll just do find longest word. Inside it now, just say let words equals to, you're going to steal. Can you guys hear me? Please, if you can hear me, just signify.
I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Okay, so words, we have to split it. So same way we split the first one. So what we need to know the length of each word. So the same way that we are doing, the same way we did it in the first function, that's how we are going to do it. So, ouch. Edwin, you're drawing on my screen. Okay, so we're going to okay, thank you. All right, let me go back to what I was doing. Okay, I think I've cleared that. Okay, so I want to split this again. So I will just call the string and I will do a split on it. Somebody can attempt this last one for me in the chat. This one. Function that accepts an argument and returns the type. Let me, yeah, just show me what you can do. You can just do it. If you get if you solve it, just put it in the chat. I'll check it out. So, I'm not supposed to dwell so long on this. It's just that I want us to have it like a refresher before we go into this thing. So I'll just say let longest word. Somebody has already solved that. Okay, equals to empty string. All right. So I'm going to just do a for because this is an array. And I will just say word in words, or word of words rather, not in. Okay. Word. Okay, I'm supposed to initiate this. So I can just say let word of words this. So if you now do an if statement inside here. So each word here, what is happening here is that these words, when you split it, it gives us an array. Now this array, we're now saying pick an item, like each of them it goes through, this is a loop. This is another way of writing a loop. So you have an array words for each word. So this is more like maybe a kind of for each. So for each word that goes inside here, if the word dot length, getting the length. So if the word dot length is greater than longest word dot length, okay, then you have to replace longest word is equals to word. Okay, so we have that. We have that. And then when you finish doing your for loop, you also need to return something. So return what's longest word, since that is what we are looking for. So I'm just going to do a CLG with console.log, and I'm just going to pass the same sentence where, okay, let me just do find longest word. And I'll still use Austin likes JavaScript. Be a string. All right, so let's do this. And let's run this and see what we get. There's something I'm missing. Longest word, longest word. Very longest word. Okay, so let me just console log this ALG. Longest word. There's something I missed out. Okay, so I didn't split properly. Interesting. It just gave me the whole this thing. That was somebody spotted out. Okay. 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 So let me do that again. Yeah, so I get JavaScript. So JavaScript is the longest word in this thing, not minding however I place it. Not minding however I place it. If I run it again, still brings out JavaScript. So there are different ways. JavaScript is very funny. JavaScript is very funny. So it's just that you keep learning, learning stuff. So let's see. Let's see what's yeah. So let me use Austin. So since he's using ES6. So okay, so this is very interesting, very straightforward and funny. So you have let return type. Well, let me just use const. So const return type, you have you're passing your data inside here to return the type of data inside here. Can you imagine that this is a function? This is just a function. Okay, so let's just console log and try this out. CLG, and I'll just say return type, and I'm passing, let's say, so I'm passing John. So let me run this, and it tells me that this is a string. It tells me that this is a string. What if I do this? Okay. All right. So I hope we are not expecting that the type is an array. An array is basically an object. So this that you're seeing, what you're seeing here is this is ES6, and it's more of what you'll be seeing in React. So you do const, you do your, so instead of using the function keyword, you just use const, the name of your function, you have an equal to, if you need to pass in stuff here, if parameters, you pass in here. And then if you're just returning a single item, you can just keep it on the same line. But if you're not, you can just open a bracket and do all of that. But it's just because we are returning just a single thing here. So you can just, yeah, you can just remove these curly braces and just work with that. So this just gives you the same thing, like using the whole function keyword. So that's the beauty of JavaScript. So you keep bringing new stuff and you keep learning. So are we clear on that? Does anybody have any questions so far? So far. Are we good on that? Because now we are jumping into React prop. I'm done with this, guys. So are we good on these functions? All right. I know you've been itching to go to this place. So, but let's start. So we've done the fundamentals. So now, fine. You want to learn React. The other things that you need to learn about, you need to understand, you need to install Node. I don't know how, do all of us have Node installed on our PCs? If you have Node installed, I'm not doing an assumption. If you have Node installed, just raise up your hand. You have Node installed on your PC. Yeah, more hands, more hands, more hands. Okay, okay. Okay, please, if you have 7 people, yeah, okay, yeah. So we are 16 here. I have Node installed, definitely. All right. So you need Node installed. Yeah, you guys can drop your hands. So you need Node installed. I don't think there's nobody that can install Node. So I need to do that. So you just need to go to Node website. Yes. And then install the latest version. Yeah. So 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 the link is in the chat there. You can go to Node. You just take the LTS version. Yeah. And then just follow the prompt and install it. So when you install Node, you'll also get access to like a couple of things, NPX and a few other things that will help you. So you also need a browser. So these are some requirements. So you need a browser, will be running, definitely it's front end. You need a browser to see what you're doing. So we already have a text editor. And then you'll also need to install your React developer tools. React developer tools. React dev tools. Okay. It's a plug. Yeah, so it's a plugin. So you need to install it your browser. So those are like basic things that we need. Those are like the basic things that we need. Then for extensions, yeah. So a few extensions that we kind of need. Let me just do this way. So let me just do, okay, sorry. So extensions that we need. So we need you need your auto rename. Yeah, I already have that auto rename. You need your, what do they call it? Yeah, you need this Java. No, not this. You need the ES7. So let me just search for. I already have that installed. Okay. I thought I have that installed. Okay, let me just go through my installed this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so ES7. That's so strange. ES7. Okay. Yeah, so I already have it installed. ES7 plus React Redux. I thought I didn't have. So this ES7 plus React Redux, React Native. So you need to install that too. You need your well, all these ones are just things to help you. You have rainbow brackets. You have, so these are not, they're not like, they're not really like the major ones here. Alright. The major ones here is just have this ES7, this thing. Yeah, David.
Okay, there are some boxes covering your screen. I don't know, maybe you might take off the video and make it and bring it back.
Okay. So let me just stop sharing and reshare again. I think it's me just trying out. Okay. So how about now? Is it better?
Yeah, Krista.
Okay. So the major one here is ES7, React Redux. Yeah. These other ones, they're just helper extensions. They can just help you out. All right. Let me minimize this. I think it's just me trying to keep up with the chats. That's what. Okay. So these are a few things. So the other thing that we'll need to talk about now is the terminal. Yeah. Yes, for now, I'm just showing the slides. So let me just talk about the terminal. So when you install Git, can you see my VS Code now? Yeah, can we see my VS Code? Okay, yeah. So when you install Git, Git gives you access to another terminal, to a bash, yeah, a Linux kind of terminal. So which is what I showed us the first day, where you kind of set this into, yeah, you set git bash as the default. You go to select default profile. It gives you this option. Do you want command prompt, PowerShell, all those things? So you select git bash, and then it kind of gives you this interface here. Now, I'm just going to use, let me just, okay, I'll just use this. This is a terminal, though you can also have an external terminal. So if I want to do that, let me mimic that. I will just, let me go to projects and right click, show more properties. Let me just open a folder. Okay, okay. So I'll just do git bash here. So this what you're seeing here is the same thing as this terminal that you're seeing here too. So this terminal and this terminal, they are alike. So I'm just going to play around with like a couple of things. So one of which is, let's say for instance, because we are going to be dealing with terminals. That's the reason why we are learning about, why we are going over it. You'll be using terminals to work. When you want to set up React, you need to use a terminal bulletin. So this is different from when you just use the browser and all of that. So you can even see the JavaScript that we did it inside a terminal. The terminal was what was helping us to run that. So I'm just going to do a PWD. So PWD is like you getting to know your present working directory. So I'm just going to use this too. So since it's the same thing, oops, sorry, trying to keep it in place. So PWD is like the present working directory. So it gives you the path to the present working directory. So you see, I have C, I have users, I have my name, I have documents, down to the very folder where I am. Now, if I want to get like a list of the directory, I just need to do ls. So it now tells you, oh, inside this folder, you have new, you have recipe, peak, you have these are folders. So you're listing all the directory of folders inside this group task. So I'm inside group task. So it gave me down to group task. And then I'm saying list all the folders inside it. So I'm doing ls, and then I'm getting all the folders inside it. If I want to show that, I'll just go here, group task. Yeah, so you see, These are the folders inside it. All right. So if I eventually want to make a folder inside here, I can just say mkdir. So this is make directory. So it's just a short form, make directory, and I will say test. So if I do ls again, you now see I have tests inside here as a folder. So this is that folder, test inside here. So now let's say I want to change directory. So I just need to do a cd. I know some of us are orgas at this thing, so I'm just doing it for the benefit of doubt. So cd, change directory, and I say I want to go to tests. Yes. I'm inside the test folder now. If I want to go out of this test folder, I have to do just cd and then 2 dots, and I'm out of this folder. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm doing so far? Yeah, please, if you understand, just put it up in the chat also. Or all right, all right. So because I'm using Linux too, I can also do a clear, and I clear that. I clear what I've done so far. I can use my up and down arrow key. So let me just put this. I can use my up and down arrow key. Yep. So, and I can switch to get back commands I've worked with before. So just in case. So this will come in handy at some point. Even when you're using Git, and then you just want to go over different commands, like when you're doing maybe git add or git commit, and maybe you don't want to retype what you were typing, you can just change, you can switch between. Yeah, if you browse about it, definitely you see it. Google is our friend. So these are like a few things that you learn about the terminal. There are many other things, but these are a few things that we'll learn about. All right. So the next thing is, yeah, we'll talk about npm node package manager. So in this regard, I'm just going to open my VS Code again. So instead of using the other terminal, wow. Okay. So I'll just try and manage. Oops, and I closed it. All right, so here now. So here, let's learn about npm. npm stands for Node Package Manager. And then we use it for like a couple of things. You can use it to run your React. You can use it to run Vue. So you also need, what happened? Can you guys still hear me? I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why this is going on. Okay, so inside here, so we're just going to play with the whole npm init. So there are a couple of commands. Yeah, this just updated on its own accord. I'm just going to create a folder inside here. So npm, let's call it npm class. All right, so I need to switch directory. I'll just do cd. So remember that here now, this is pointing to KodeCamp, but I want to switch into this npm class. So I'll just say cd npm class. So I'm inside npm class now. I'm just going to do npm init. So this init, what init does is like it creates, well, back is most of what really happens is npm is actually from Node. It's just an extraction from Node. So what this does is that this creates like a package.json. Yeah. So this creates a package.json that kind of gives you some commands that you can use. Npm init-y. Okay. So if I go inside here now, see that I have a package.json here. So inside the package.json, I have the name of the package, I have the version, I have description, and then I have the main scripts and all of that. We'll get to see how this comes into play. So when I do npm init, yeah, npm init -y is you're saying yes, allow it, like initialize it, create the package.json on your own accord. Normally, there's how you actually do it, and then you have to specify like each thing by yourself. So I didn't want to go through that stress of doing it one after the other, specifying the names, specifying this, specifying that. So that's why I added a -y at the end. And then we have that. All right. So that is npm init. So it creates a package.json and then lists the dependencies. Then we also have, let me just get on. So yeah. So then we also have npm. Let me just clear this. So we have npm install, and then you add a save. So let's say, for instance, npm init. No, npm install. You can use npm I. You can use npm install. For those of us that like to test our typing skill, you like typing. So npm install, then a package name. So let me see. What package can I install now? Let me just see, Bootstrap. Can I spell Bootstrap? And then you do --save. Okay, how fast does that go? Okay, so I have now installed. I've installed Bootstrap. If you check now, you see dependencies. So inside these dependencies, you have like things that you're going to use, like, what will I call them? What word? These are like helper code or something. So these are like packages. These are packages. These are packages that will help you to use your code now. So with this Bootstrap installed, I can use, if I arrange it, if I do this properly, I can use this Bootstrap inside this npm class that I have here. So anything that is inside this dependencies array, it will kind of help you for your project. So now, one thing with installing packages is that, so what I'm actually saying, when you do npm install, you're installing a package. So that package is kind of registered in your dependencies. Now, this package, the package is kind of linked to your project, so that it assists you to do whatever you need to do. It could be Swiper, it could be React Router, there are a whole lot of packages. So now when you install, it kind of brings in this node modules folder. Now this node modules folder has like everything that you need to make this work. Everything you need. See that we have Popper.js, we have Bootstrap, this stuff. Now, just so that we have it ahead, we have it in our minds, it's actually not good for you to push, if you're pushing this code, don't push your node modules, don't push this file that you're seeing here, because this is usually heavy. This is usually very heavy. So just imagine if you have to install like a whole lot of things. This can be like maybe 100 MB or something, and then you're pushing it to GitHub. So most times it's best to create a git ignore file. Let me do it inside here now. I'll just create a new file. I'll just say .git ignore. So inside this now, I will just do /node modules. That is where node. Okay. So when you do this, when you add it to the git ignore file, so it tells you that if you're pushing your code to GitHub, that it should ignore this file. Moreover, any file that you put inside git ignore, so far as you reference it properly, tells you that it's supposed to ignore that file while pushing it. So because what we are doing is you're dealing with React. So you don't expect that somebody has. So whoever wants to run your application, if the person wants to run it locally, the person has to either clone your repository and then install the packages. So clone your repository, install the packages. So that's why you don't have to put. So fast is inside this dependency listing. So it just tells the person, okay, if I don't have these node modules, it's not going to work. So when the person runs it, you have an error. You have an error, and then you now have to install. You have to do npm install to install all these packages. To install all the packages that will be inside this dependency, inside the application, inside your local application. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Do you understand what I mean? Okay. Okay. So yeah, so let's just go on. All right. So you install all the packages there. Then the other thing I was to talk about, so I just brought in this git ignore so that we just have it at the back of our mind. I don't want when I see somebody's submission, I'm saying node modules. It's you that will install that kind of that application by yourself. So that is this one. This says install the package locally and add it to the package.json. Then we can also have installing a package globally. Something like your which package is this? There's this package that we normally use to NodeMon. Yeah. So when you add a G flag, if I do this, let me clear this. And so if I do npm, I can just use I, and I just say NodeMon, and then I do -G. So you're saying install this package. So this is the package name. Install this package globally. Now, what this does is that this usually works with internet. Please don't try doing npm install without being connected to the internet, because it goes to the internet, searches for this package, and then pulls it in. So it goes, searches for your node pulls it in, and then installs it globally. So it's on your device, whichever folder that you're working with, you have access to this node inside it. Now, whereas this one, what the bootstrap that we used earlier is just confined to a particular folder. It's just confined to a particular folder. So that's what happens. That's what happens. I don't know if we are clear on that. I don't know if we are clear on that. Are we clear on that one? Okay. So then we also have npm install, let's say, let me just say swiper. Yeah. I'm just installing all these things. Save. And then you want this only in your development. Yeah, but this is why we install Bootstrap globally. There are some things that you should install globally. That node one I was talking about was so that you can run your that kind of stuff. But why we install Bootstrap globally? The thing that we normally try in this country. Why we install Bootstrap globally? Okay. So that was just by the way. So uh, and all of that. But when you push it out, you don't really need this dependency. That's what saving. See what I did though. So you install this and then you do save to dev, save to dev. So this just creates your only when you're developing it, that's when you're using this. So most often than not, some people don't easily separate them. So even the ones that you don't need outside there, you just pack all of them inside uh, the dependencies objects. We just have everything inside here. And well, to an extent, it may not be very wrong. There are two sides of it anyway. Sometimes the reason why that happens is you're uncertain of should it be development, should it be this. So the safest way to play is just putting it as a normal dependency, it's not a development dependency. All right. Are we clear on that? Does anybody have any questions so far?
I'm not clear. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. Let me see. Okay, okay. Look, man, I can't hear you. I can't hear you well.
I said I'm not clear on the purpose of the last dependency is swiper. What does it do?
Okay, okay. So okay. So I was trying to explain that Swiper, this is a package. Swiper is a package. Now you use it for sliders, carousels, and stuff. Eventually we'll get to use it. So what I was saying is that I was saying is that there are some packages that you only need them when you are developing. You only need them when you're developing. So um so if you do not need them, if you do not need them as a major dependency, you can put them as a dev dependency. You can just, if you just need it when you're like running, let's say, for instance, NodeMon now. NodeMon. Let's say you just want to use NodeMon. NodeMon, like I said, is just, yeah, you can use it to serve, like so that if you make changes, it automatically updates that kind of stuff. But this is when you're using, this is when you're running Node app, that kind of stuff. So eventually, what I'm trying to say is that node mod now, you don't need it when you're pushing, when for whoever is going to run this application now, or whoever is going to use it. Or okay, I think the better thing to say is when you're hosting this, let me use hosting now. You don't need node mod. You only need node mod when you're running it locally on your device. So you put it as a dev dependency. So you put it as a dev dependency because it just helps you to run this thing. When you save the page, you don't need node mod because mostly when you're hosting, it has to like install these packages that you need so that your app works. There's no error in you pushing node mod there. It will install the node mod, but the node mod will not do anything. So just to differentiate some things, so that's why some people just put it as dev dependency, so that when you push it and it goes up there, and you're hosting it, there's no need to install nodemon there because it's not doing any work there. I don't know if you're clear on that. Yeah, Lukman, are you clear on that?
It's clear.
Oh, okay. Favor, you say you have a question. What's your question? Are you there, Favor?
Yes, sir. I have questions. So, firstly, I want to ask because I did not join the class on time because I was looking for the link. I'm not seeing the link. I wanted to know one, where they posted the link for the class, and two,
Oh,
I'm trying to understand what is happening here.
yeah. Okay. So I think you just have maybe after, I don't know, maybe on the group or somewhere, because a lot has already happened. A lot has already happened before we got to this point. And to come and start going back, it's a long journey. So you just have to follow suit. So, but let me just try and we've talked about the necessary things that you need for React. We talked about uh, terminal, how you use terminal. We've talked about we're talking about npm now because you need to install packages at some point. You need to um, run packages. Basically, when you're running React, you need a script that will run this thing, that will run the file. So you'll just get the gist. You get the gist. You have wonderful people here that will guide you on that. So let's just continue. I believe there's no other question. Or does any other person have a question? I think that is basically that for npm. That's that for npm. So I think the next thing to do is, yeah. So the next thing to do is to properly install React. So now there is so if you go to React now, there's a gotcha there. Let me just go through this slide first. I have plenty of this. I hope nothing is covering us. Okay, so installing an so normally you would use create React app. You need to install this globally and use it to create your project. Yes, but this is deprecated. Well, React actually announced that. So they are kind of pointing you to like Next.js. Next.js is like the senior brother of React. So eventually, when you learn React to some point, you also need to learn Next.js. So this Next.js brings in like the SEO part of things, and well, you don't have to like set up your routes and so on and so forth. It automatically does the whole routing. When I talk about routes, I mean like how your page comes up. So let's say, for instance, you have signup.html. I mean, I'm talking signup.html. This is in React. You have signup slash signup. Normally in React, you have to set that up. You have to set that. You have to use your router and set that up in React. And if you don't know how to do it, it can be a headache. It can be a pain. So Next.js kind of made it better, such that you just need to create folders, files, and automatically it does that for you. So far as you name it properly, that happens. Yeah, Chidubem, what is your question? Your hand is up.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
So I have two questions. I've been looking for the link to join this class. It's 9 o'clock, and I just got in now. I don't know where they posted it. Then second, I don't understand anything that's going on here.
God of mercy. Okay. So please, the link is actually pinned in the React channel. It's the same link, just to address that. And I don't know. This was a 9:30 class, so I don't know if you actually asked around or something. Someone would have done that. And then for understanding, yes, the link to this class we'll post this on YouTube, so you can actually go through it. I know it's best to be in class so that you can see and ask questions. Yeah, but we've gone beyond that. So you need to just follow up and understand what is going on. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Right. Right. Okay. So back to what we were saying. So I'm going to use Vite. You can still use Create Reactor. It will still work. But Vite is a modern build tool, has development server, and it uses ES6 modules. So Vite is actually, it helps you to create faster, like your application. Normally when I actually started learning React, you install, I think React and Vue, you install it. When you install it, normally with Create React app, you see that it's kind of slow. Your app is a bit slow to render or to save or to show on your browser. But with Vite, it kind of makes it faster. It makes it faster, and it's Vite is kind of unique. So I'll just go to Vite. So if you come to React, I wanted to say something here, learn React and installation. Start a new React project. So you can do the whole MPX. So you see, they even removed the one for, what do they call it? They removed the one for plain React. So this one is the one for Next.js. And you have Remix, you have Gatsby, and so on and so forth. So that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing. So React, they've kind of removed that aspect. So a bypass can just be, you just go to Vite. So you come here. So you see, Vite supports a whole lot of things. A whole lot of things. You can use it. You can use it to create your vanilla app. You can use it for Vue. You can use it for React, Preact, Lit, Svelte, Solid, Quick. So it's easy to run. It's not this thing. So what you just need to do is okay, so you just do npm create vit at latest. So I'll just go into my folder. So I'm just going to go backward a bit. So remember, let me just clear this. I hope we can all see my screen. Can we? We can just signify. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. So I will just do. Yeah. Normally, I like doing it outside, but let me just do it inside here. So I'm in npm class, and I don't want to do it in npm class. So let me just do, because I have a KodeCamp folder there. So I'll just do cd dot dot. I'm going out of this folder. I'm in KodeCamp now. So I'll just do npm create vit at latest. Okay, so let me just drag this up a bit. Okay, so when you're using vit, it kind of tells you, when you're using vit, it asks you for the project name, So I will just say, ah, okay, let me just call it first app, because I'm out of names. So now you need to select, what do you want to use it for. Do you want to use it for vanilla, Vue, React, and all of that? So we need it for React. So I select React. Now, do you want to use as TypeScript or TypeScript plus SWC? I just need it for JavaScript. So I have my first app here. So eventually, I think I need to open just this first app alone. So I'm just going to open folder, and let's KodeCamp. I just need to open this folder alone. So most times I prefer just working with this. So you see that this already gives us like the files that we need as quickly as possible. Doesn't need any special ceremony. So Vite just gives you everything as quickly as possible. Let me just drag this down a bit. All right, so this gives us public this. So you see now that package.json that we're talking about automatically creates it for you. First app does this, gives you a dev. So these scripts now, you see what we use it for. Preview, React DOM. They even gives you types and all of that. Like these are just dev dependencies and all whatnot. So ESLint and all these are. So you see, we have the dev dependencies thing here. Now, because eventually when this goes up there, nonetheless, this does not, yeah, it does not help anything when it is being served. So it just does its stuff. So that's why it's just for when you're using it down here. So now I need to know if this is working. So for you to run your, this is how React folder structure kind of looks when you install a React application. I don't know if anybody's confused. Do you understand what I did? The whole Vite thing. We got to this point. Please, if you're confused.
Just share your terminal.
Okay. Okay. I'm showing, yeah, I'm actually, is it VS Code you're seeing?
No, you can see your slide.
Really? What a mess. Okay, let me stop sharing. and reshare. That is just so slow. Okay. So yeah, sincere apologies for that. So do I need to okay. 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 Do I need to go over the installation with Vite again? Or did all of us get that? How to use Vite to install? You guys should. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. That's fine. So the thing is, when okay. All right, let me just go back. This is Vite. You go to Vite's website, Vite. When you search for it, you get this. Now you go to getting started, and on getting started, look for the one that has npm. Depends. You can use yarn to if that's what you want to use. So I am using npm. Okay, I'm using npm. Now, there are different ways of doing this thing. For me, I could just go to, because I have a folder for all my projects. And if I want it to be like maybe in a specific folder, I need to just go to that folder. So let's say, for instance, KodeCamp again. I'll just do a CMD here, open then CMD inside there, and then open. So this automatically gives me like, well, another terminal. This gives you the Windows terminal. So I can still just do the whole npm create Vite at latest, npm create Vite at latest. And then when I press enter, so it has to be done inside the terminal. If I press enter, it now asks you for the project name. So the project name. So you have to specify the project name. What's the name of this thing? Okay. Oh, okay. Let me just say my app. Okay. So when you specify the name of the app, it now gives you another prompt. Select a framework. So you can use your arrow key to toggle between, you can go up or down with your arrow key. So for now we need this React that we are creating. So we press enter. Then it now asks you if you need TypeScript enabled or TypeScript plus SWC. I don't know what it is at the moment. SWC. Okay. TypeScript plus SWC. We also have JavaScript and then JavaScript plus SWC. So you now select JavaScript because that's what we want to start out with. We don't want to get people confused with TypeScript where you now have to do interface and a whole lot of things. So let's just stick with what we know. And then you press enter. So automatically what this has done for you now is it has created, it has installed this, it has created this app for you. So my app, you have my app now. I can just CD. So it gives you some other prompts. So CD to my app. I've CD'd to it. I've changed my directory. I'm inside it. I can do a code and dots, and press enter. Automatically, this will bring up, well, here's code for you, showing you like the folders. Okay. Now, so I'm going to use this instead of the previous one. I'm just opening a terminal again. All right. So I'm going to try running this. So now if you check your package, now you see that, remember what we did when we were talking about npm. The npm creates this layout for you. So Probably when they were, for them, the way they set it up is that as you're doing the write create at latest, it automatically creates this package.json, brings in the necessary things that you need, and then eventually you now have to install them by yourself. So you have a name, yeah, you have private, you have version, you have type, and then all of that. Then you have dev, build, and so on and so forth. You have the dependencies. So because we are dealing with React, React is the major thing. React DOM is also a major thing. So you also need this when you're when you deploy this. But then you see we have dev dependencies. So we have types that checks. Yeah, the types that we are using. We also have types for React DOM. We have at latest plugin. We have ESLint. ESLint is kind of to check your code that you're following standards and all of that. Then you have Vite itself. So all of this, Vite is just, yeah, it helps it to run, that kind of stuff. So what this does, so this kind of separates, the major things are inside here that you need even when you deploy it. The ones that you need when you're running it, when you're working on it currently, is what is inside the dev dependency. So I hope we understand that. I hope we understand that. Do we? Are we clear on that? Because I want to move further. Okay, okay. So then the next thing to do is where we have scripts now, we are going to use npm to try and run this thing, because unlike when we're using HTML and CSS, you have to like click on go live to go live. But this one is a Node app, and you need to use Node to like run it. So you say npm run dev. So inside the scripts. So most times, if you're unclear of what you're supposed to use to run a particular application, just come here, check for scripts, check. So you see we have this dev here, but we are going to get an error now. What did they say? Can somebody tell us why this is like this? So we have an error. So can somebody tell us why do we have this error? Why do we have this?
Because that's not a terminal command. You just
Okay. Okay. Remember, okay. Remember that there were some commands that we didn't finish doing here. So it says change directory. Yeah. So it says change directory to this. We've not done npm install. So we have all these packages here. We have React DOM. All these things, they are not installed. Yeah. So those things, they are not installed. So because of that, you can't run this. So what you need to do now is you need to do npm install. So I'm just doing npm I. So npm I is same thing as npm install. So if I do this, automatically you see, we don't even have a node modules, this thing inside here. Let me just cut it first. We don't have node modules inside here. So how do you expect it to work? There's no node modules folder inside here. So you don't expect it to work because there's no node modules. It won't work. So I'm just going to install. Then take note of what is happening here. I have a hand. Yeah, okay. Mallocs, yeah.
I thought by doing the whole npm create vite latest, I thought that was us installing everything we needed at that
No,
particular point.
yeah, it just created it just scaffolded something for you, but you need to still install it. It just gave you like a template, but you need to install the necessary things inside it.
Okay.
I don't know if
Thank
you.
you. Yeah. So,
Okay. So automatically, when you're using, I don't know, for those of us that use Create React app, automatically, well, I think it's been a long while. I think it gives you the node modules and all of that. It just creates all the stuff for you, and then probably maybe that's why you even used to take time, because it has to like install a whole lot. But this one just creates quickly, and then eventually you now have to install it on your own accord. So now it gives, I now have this node modules folder. Now if you go to, you see I have this git ignore. You check git ignore, there are a couple of things here that are, yeah. So we have this node modules, we have VS Code, we have uh, some basic things that they put for you. So this is so that you don't push this folder when you're pushing. Whoever wants to install it, you install it by yourself and pull this in. That's the way this works. All right, so let me just, I don't know if we are clear up to this point. Okay, I'm supposed to run this. Let me try running this again. npm run dev. So let's see if it breaks this time around. So you see, automatically it gives you a page as quickly as possible. And you have your React page showing up as it should be. So you see, it didn't waste time. But if you were using Create React apps, and then it will take some seconds before it will start showing up. So let's just go over, like, I don't know if anybody has questions so far. Does anybody have questions up till now? Yeah, Edwin.
Yeah, my question is it that every time I want to use like create every time I want to use React, you have to create it for each project of ourselves. Install it and it work but it's work everywhere.
Yes, you have to always create it because it's unique. It's unique for it.
Okay.
For that project, yes. Yeah, Favor.
So I was trying to do that nice stuff on my laptop, and it came to some point that it was asking me if I should do that TypeScript plus something and JavaScript. So I don't know so which one, what am I going to do at that point? I have
Because of you
TypeScript
that I
plus
went back again. Oh. It was because of you that I went back again.
that's
And
what
we
was
picked JavaScript.
tracking.
We picked
Okay,
JavaScript.
just JavaScript.
Yes. Except you're a TypeScript
Okay.
guru, then you can pick TypeScript.
No, it's too much now. Am I picking only JavaScript or JavaScript plus HWC?
Don't worry. JavaScript alone.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. It's done.
All right. So does any other person have question?
Okay. Yeah, I have a question. Ogochukwu.
Yeah.
Okay. I was actually running. I was carrying out the project with an NGO, and then on our team, we actually have backend guys on the team, and then I was trying to push my code to GitHub, and then we had some conflict. And now the question is, because they actually asked they asked if I had installed Yarn, and I sounded kind of confused, like, okay, because I actually did the npm install, and then they were like, have you installed Yarn? So I want to know what's the what's really the importance of Yarn, and what's
Okay.
Yarn all about?
Okay.
Because it was kind of
Yeah,
confusing,
okay.
and I sounded really stupid. That yeah.
All right. All right. So npm and Yarn, they do the same work actually. So I think something that we need to pay attention to is what the organization that we are working for is using. If they are using Yarn, then you need to set up Yarn. If they are using npm, you follow npm. Probably why you had conflict was because maybe they are using, because they're using yarn, and then you're trying to do the same thing. Yeah, it will work. It might, yeah, it will work because there are packages and all of that. So you're introducing something new to their code base, sort of. So probably that change there was what caused the conflict. So use this as it's a package manager. It allows you to install. It allows you to remove. npm install, npm uninstall. Yeah. So it allows you to install and remove. So you can, but with yarn, you use yarn add. With npm, you do npm install. So it's just people's preference. Some people just prefer to use Node. Some people prefer to use yarn. So just preference. I don't know if that clears up what.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So we've set this up. I just want to talk about the folder structure and then probably show you like a few things. In the next class, I think this took longer than I expected. I don't know. Okay. So inside here, we have like a couple of things. We have a public folder. We have SRC. SRC is where you have your assets, app.css, app.jsx. What we have displaying on the screen now is from this app.jsx. If I just put favor, let me just put a paragraph and I say favor and I save. This auto reload, are you even working? Okay, so automatically favor shows up. So the beauty of React is that when you make a change, now because of ESLint and all of that, it now starts giving us all this very wonderful warning. So you just need to understand what is going on. So it's saying that when you're using an anchor tag, you should add a target blank. Let me just fix this for us. Let me adjust this. Okay, we have that. So fix all auto-fixable problems. So that fixes it. So you need to add what we needed to add was this rel no refer, that kind of thing. So when you make a change here, automatically on your browser, it shows up. But this has to always be running. So this npm run dev. So that's why I'm saying, that's why if you check, you notice that I don't do autosave. I was talking about the whole I mean, okay, it was in the beginner class, I was talking about autosave. So the whole autosave thing, because this keeps running. And for those of us, if you've noticed very well, when you start running, if your PC is not very strong or so, your CPU or your fan starts blowing faster. So depending, just your choice. For me, I do not allow it to save on its own. I save it when I feel, okay, I think I should save now and test. So it's just a preference. So I'm still talking about the folder structure. I have the index, still has index.css, still has CSS files inside here. Then you have main. So main is, so what happens is that this app.jsx, now this is where everything is. For now, for this, we are not doing any routing, we are not doing anything. So this is more like a function, you're exporting it, a function that returns like a template, a function that returns what you're seeing on your screen. Now, you now need to display it. So if you notice here now, you have function, app, and all of that. And then you're exporting it. You now come here, you're importing it from that fold, from here. Now, the way that React does is that it creates the DOM and then it now injects it inside this root. So this, everything that you're displaying has to pass through this app and show up. Everything that you're doing, everything that you're doing. If you eventually have to create like other pages and all of that, it is all coming out from this app. So this app is like the center of your application. If I want to change whatever is here now, if I want to create another, this, I can delete what is here. So that state is okay. I need to refresh this. Okay, sorry, I was not seeing this. Okay, so I've cleared everything that is inside here. Now, we'll learn about this over time, Sha. This is just you managing your states inside here. If you check very well, just you have a button. You have a button here. So if you check my page, if you check this page now, you have this count is equals to 0. So when you click on it, it increases. So what is helping it out is this states. We'll talk about the states that's on this thing. So this state initially is 0, but because you're saying count plus 1, for those of us that for all of us that understand JavaScript, you know, say those of us. So you have count, you have count is incrementing by 1. So anytime I click this button, this increases by 1, this increase, and then this displays the count. So the count is this same this state that we have here. So we'll talk about that. Then you have the git ignore, you have the index.html. So this index.html is more like, so remember what I was saying. If you check main.js, we have this root. So you're saying inject this app inside this root. If you come to your HTML, index.html here, you see that we have this div with an ID of roots. So everything, if I go to the browser now, if I inspect, okay, so I open body. Inside body, you see that we have roots. And inside roots, we now have all these things injected into it. Everything injected into it. So we have roots, which is what is inside the index, inside this one. So if I want to change like the title of my application from Vite plus React, and I am like intermediate class, you do that inside here. And I think this is also where you can put your favicon and so on and so forth. If we check now, intermediate class, then we have the package lock. We have package lock kind of specifies the exact version of the package that you're using. Then package.json is the one that contains how to run the application, the dependencies that you need. And you also have a readme.md, more like when you push this is what shows up on your GitHub. Then this is Vit's own, it just uses this to run the applications for you. You don't really have anything to do in this part, at least for now. So just, let's say, yeah. So inside here now, let's say, so this thing, when you create a file, because most of your files are just going to be like this, and they have to follow this convention, a capital letter .jsx. Then you can have your the app.css kind of linked. That's if you're using plain CSS. So if you're using plain CSS, you have to do a dot slash. So because they are on the same level, so you need to do a dot slash app.css, and then this your app.jsx. So is a function. When you create a function, you have to return something inside here. Yeah. So if I remove this, you have to return something inside here. So if I do a h4, automatically this will still work. We'll still see this. This will still work because you always have to return something when you're doing this. So now the funny thing, the interesting thing about React is that you can do your JavaScript here. If I want to write a function here, I can write my function here, const, name of my function, hello. So everything happens inside here. So I have my JavaScript here. I have my HTML here. So now, okay, let me finish explaining this before. So I think at 12 is up. So when you're returning a single thing like this is not just what we want, but probably you want more than this. You want to display more than this. So instead of just returning just a h4 or something, now another way of doing this is you just put a bracket around it. I'm supposed to remove. Yeah, you put brackets like this. Then need for this. And then inside here, you can have like a div that carries all of them if you choose. And then you can have maybe anything. So you see, automatically it re-renders. Automatically it re-renders. So here, so you have this. So you can either do it this way, or alternatively, you can use what we call fragments. So more like what we had earlier. So you just do something like this. And then you put whatever you need. Automatically it will still show I am testing. But the beauty of this one is that, yeah, you don't need just what you can put another div here. Okay. So you see this. So this shows up. So something that we need to know is that I think at some point, let me remove the CSS because the CSS seems to be interfering. Now I'm not using this thing, so that's why I have all these squiggly lines. I'm not using this use states. So that's why I have all those errors. So the beauty of this one is that when you're making error, when you have an error, you see what is wrong. So I think I need to remove a couple of things. After this, so either I remove this completely, I could just delete this, and this is back to this, and index.css, which has a whole of this. I can just remove this, and then we have your white listing. So whatever you need to do, you can just do it inside. You can do it. You can put your own style in by yourself and play around with it. So this app.jsx has its own app.css. Most often than not, that's usually the convention. You create this, you create a CSS file. That's if you're using vanilla CSS, not Tailwind and all of that. So the file, then the CSS itself, and so on and so forth. So, and then you need to link it like this, import./app.css. So that points to this file itself. Okay, I've actually said a whole lot. Does anybody have questions? If you have questions, just raise your hand. Because I think this weekend now I get them. Anybody has questions? Maybe we understand what I've talked about so far. Yeah, Barry.
All right, quick one. It's about the CSS you just mentioned.
Okay.
You know, we actually have the index CSS, and then we
Yes.
actually have the app CSS, and I think
Yeah.
both have the same what do you call it, CSS in them, like same codes in them. So which is advisable to use? Because I've seen a couple of codes where people use the app CSS and others just index CSS.
Well,
So
I think it's different. If you check, so this is roots, and it points, I think this is like a global kind of styling. Whereas this other one, app.css, if I bring this back, this is more specific. So app.css, this is more specific for the file, then the keyframe and all of that. So sorry, let me bring this down. So this is more specific for this file. The index of CSS is more like global. So if you check, it's linked to, yeah, it's linked to this, which kind of wraps the entire app. The index.css is linked to this, whereas app.css is just linked to this one. I don't know if you understand, if you get what I mean.
okay, but I think I don't know, one dominates another.
Yes, yes. The index of CSS dominates. That's why when I deleted this, you still have like the dark background. You still have this dark background. So, but I don't know. It might not be. I don't think it might be very necessary. I think you can ignore putting this index.css globally and just go with this, or you can choose to just go with this. But what most people do is that they just have like for each file so that they can kind of separate concerns. So for maybe the app.css, they have their own, they have the CSS for that file. Then if they have another one, they have the CSS for that file, just to separate concerns. Because say for instance, now eventually you guys have to now work on on the projects together. How's everybody going to be putting it inside here? So I think people now started devising ways of of managing that. So you have the file with CSS folder. Even though sometimes you also need to be careful when using that, because it does not really separate that kind of one. If they are clashing class names, so I think it still goes down. It still goes down to the last listing. So your class name, you kind of have to tie it specific to what you're working on, so that it doesn't affect someone's code. You don't give generic names, kind of. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Does any other person have a question? Okay. So what is going to happen is you guys are going to create, I'm going to send, I don't know if I can get that Figma design. You guys are going to create like a link tree. You're going to install React, create a link tree. And the small this thing that you are going to do for me is just research on how to host on GitHub pages. Research on how to host on GitHub pages. So that is what we are going to be doing for this week. So I'm going to send the design to you. You're going to use HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS in React. So remember, we have JSX. You're able to write your JSX the way you've seen the way I'm writing my own here. So you're able to create this. So you're just going to create. You're just going to create your own inside here. You just have your CSS inside your app.css. I'm not stressing you. So you have your CSS inside here. You're going to just use that. Precious, I know that you're a Tailwind advocate. Yes, just use HTML and CSS. And do this one first. So that's what we are going to do this week. So I know the major work that we are going to learn about is how to use GitHub pages to serve what do they call it? React apps. So that's like what we are going to research. That's what we are going to check out. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. If not, I think we are at a close. Does anybody have questions? I'm going to drop it officially on the channel, so don't get confused about what I'm expecting. Anybody has question? Okay, Chidubem.
Okay, so my question is, what if you want to use like a CSS framework like Bootstrap or Tailwind, can you work in React?
React is an upgrade. So definitely you can use Bootstrap, you can use Tailwind. Like, I don't know the last time I used Bootstrap, so what people are using now is Tailwind. Eventually we'll install Tailwind and then use Tailwind. So maybe one of the things that you have to get and start learning is how to use Tailwind. You don't know how to use it. So I don't think I would like you to build an application with Bootstrap for me though. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, talking about the CSS framework. Now, yeah, Tailwind is basically inline, and now
Yeah.
I work for this NGO, and then they actually don't accept inline CSS. So I don't know if there's actually a way to make the Tailwind external, like, and then just link it to your component.
Tailwind was built to be inline, no? Most of it. There are companies that don't even like you to to even do the external because there are some crazy. There are some things that you would like to do that you cannot do with Tailwind. That you now have to do your external styling. So that Tailwind was designed to be inline. So apologies for the company. They just have to accept it, except they want you to now go to Bootstrap or because even Bootstrap is well, if I'm getting your point clearly, except you're talking about defining because you can actually define some classes in your Tailwind config and all of that and use it. But you still have to call classes. Even if you're using Bootstrap, you still have to call classes. Even if you're using what do they call it? Vanilla, you still have to call classes. So it's just class names. And that's what Tailwind does. So I don't know. That's what it is. I don't know if you're clear on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other person with question? Ifeoma, how are you doing? I've not heard your voice.
Mr. Agachupa, I'm fine.
All right. Hope you understood what we've been doing so far.
Yeah, to some extent, although I will watch the video. Maybe by then I'll have plenty of questions.
No problem. Yeah. But Lumi, how about you? Okay. Okay. That's the case. I think we've come to a close. This took longer than normal, but I think it was worth it. So thank you guys. I will drop our task on the channel. And then for those of us that are yet, yeah, the pre-intermediate and intermediate stuff, so very soon that will be addressed. So
Hello, sir.
it's all good. Yeah.
Mr. Yeah, I
Yes.
have an issue and I've messaged Mr. IQs. Like I was removed from the pre-intermediate yesterday night and I submitted the intermediate task.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
So yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Is this TY? Is this TY?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So okay. So the sad thing is that I don't even know how to address these submissions. Some of us, some people are even just lucky to make it into this thing, into, for you in particular, I don't think you made it. I don't know what and what, I think you did not, either there's no detail page or so. And I think some functional, I don't know if all the functionalities were working. So some people that are in beginner or something, either their design was something else or I can't even say, but I know I saw terrible things. Someone even, I don't know, altered the design completely and submitted whatever the person wanted to submit. So so I don't know. I think probably I'll just look at it again, but I don't know. There was enough time for people to actually update their work, research on it or something, but well, this is what it is. I don't know. So probably I will check again. Yes. Come on. This is intermediate and you have to do better than, you have to do more than what you've been doing. If I show you some designs, what the lies are not. Okay. But nonetheless, we'll talk about that outside here.
All right.
All right. Any other question? Okay, so with that, I think we'll end the class here. Thank you guys for coming and keep learning, keep upskilling. Yeah, we'll do great things. Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys. All right. Yeah.